Welcome to the future. This is Ina Braxton from the Digital Future Lab, and you're listening to our weekly DFL podcast, where we cover the state of the gaming industry, technology, and diversity. Here are your hosts, Samantha Riley and Jesus Govella.
Hello and welcome to the DFL Podcast. I'm Jesus.
And I'm Samantha.
And today we have with us two guests from the DFL.
Introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Christine.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm a QA here, and yeah.
So we're basically just going to ask them questions, kind of get a perspective on what it's like to be a QA in the lab. So I feel like maybe you guys can talk a little bit about your role, just like some tasks you do every day, things that maybe an outsider that hasn't been in your position before wouldn't know.
Well, I guess one of the surprising and yet interesting thing that I liked when I found out about this role, found more information, was that being a QA means that you're constantly testing for bugs, but not in just like development side, but like for every single aspect of the production. So audio, art, and including the development code side as well. It's just you have to have a good understanding of everything, even the narrative, the game design, just to make sure that everything works well and is working correctly.
We gotta make sure we have to get a good understanding of, for example, the design or the narrative approaches of the game, so we can make sure whatever we're testing with kind of matches up to this spec. That's I think the beauty of being the QA is that you get to kind of get hands-on testing with every single aspect of the game, so you're not just limited to writing scripts or testing for bugs, but you're also given the opportunity to give some in-house feedback for each department to see where they could improve on, or if they're forgetting something. So it's we're their support team, we carry somehow.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when a bug happens, what's the process for logging that?
Well, our process, we have our own separate side where we just log bugs constantly, without care if there's duplicates or without care if it's a real bug or not. After we log it there, we have a second QA look at that issue and check it to see if it's actually real, it's not a one-time thing. And then they would verify that that bug is there, and then they'll just move it to the development board where the rest of the team can see, check it out, and becomes assigned to another person to fix.
Okay.
There are some cases where people are testing in several different platforms. For example, other members in the QA have personal Mac systems. So for example, one bug we were actually playing with for most of our time we were here was the tutorial sequence kind of system. So we just wanted to make sure that stuff works on everyone's computer. And that tends to break on for example a Mac, but that's why we decide to approach why this could be by just kind of remembering and keeping a log of what actions we have done right before this issue encountered, so we could track where the underlying issue may be.
And how many bugs do you think you get a week, let's say?
When the new build is released?
Yeah, or how many bugs have you guys run into, do you think?
Oh, that we ran into?
Mm-hmm.
I think we log over 100 by now.
No. Wait. Well,
because beginning,
there's 120 on the boards.
Yeah.
But I think the ones we've logged, I'd say around 50, 60 since the time we started here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I expect there to be a little bit more because we're now testing a version of the game where all the pretty stuff, all the art is like been finally imported.
Meaning things will break.
Yeah, in some way, but we're QAs. Our job is supposed to
Break
make sure.
things.
Yeah, and basically to sum up our roles, we basically make sure shit doesn't break.
Yeah. And to break it intentionally so that they will be fixed.
We break games so others don't have to.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever encountered like a bug that was fixed and came back?
A few times, yeah. We do have a specific label called bug regression.
Okay.
So then we would mark it so that's just really more a signal for either design or dev, whoever that bug is tailored to double check to see if like they did everything like similar to what they did before. Maybe that's just like an unchecked box. It's just usually a simple fix if it's a bug regression.
Yeah, most of the bug regressions I've encountered were basically they dealt with the UI and stuff. There was like one time where like a new build was pushed out, but that build included like the UI like all scaled up and stuff. So like a picture, like bunch of pictures of the Turiboa would like cover up the entire screen. You cannot see anything. It was a pretty funny situation, but usually they're easy fixes. So, and when they're fixed one time, the developers know how to fix it again, and that's the beauty of practicing and practicing.
Right, and have you guys ever come across bugs where it's like game breaking, like you can't complete a level or something like that?
Oh yes.
Yeah, plenty.
Those are our main priorities, to break the games where it just crashes. Currently there is a way to crash the game. It's if you select the muse and you have it selected and press restart or quit, the game would just completely freeze, or like you can still move around but you are unable to do anything. The game doesn't progress. You can't exit the game unless you get out of it and like manually close it yourself.
Yeah, but yeah, those kind of issues used to be scattered between levels, but now they're becoming like less apparent.
Yeah.
I feel like it's still kind of there. They're just harder to find.
Yeah, which is
good
and bad.
I'm gonna, think of it on the bright side. Say we're getting there. Yeah, that's what I love to see about this team. You know, progress. It just keeps going. Yeah.
Oh yeah, another question would be, have you guys come across less bugs in general as we're getting closer to the final sort of build now? Or is it still about the same, would you say?
So we still have plenty of bugs logged on our boards, like, you know, since we started. But the amount of bugs that have been popping up on our end started to slow down quite a bit. So I feel like most of the bugs that are, you know, up front and game breaking have been kind of logged, and like once those are fixed, like we can focus on the smaller ones. So
granted that games will never be bug free, but it's better to have like those weird not game breaking bugs than the game breaking bugs.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, has there been like a situation, like the most memorable situation so far, being this role, or something that felt hard to figure out?
I'm trying to write that integration test.
oh yeah, that's good. We had a lot of fun with that.
It was during the time when we were assigned basically to write a script to test the game. Originally the task assigned to us was too big, because instead of actually giving us a unit test, which just tests like one part of the game, one class, we got assigned an integration test, meaning we had to go through different classes just to see if it test and see if it was working correctly.
Yeah, I know for me personally, I spent a lot of time trying to hook up everything and realized like there was just too many separated files of code to deal with. So even I thought before ahead of time, I was like, oh, this is a little bit too complicated.
Yeah, I
Sounds
agree.
really overwhelming.
Yeah, it was just staring at the huge amount of code that other people had already coded, just trying to figure out where things connected and how to get the one thing that you need.
Yeah, I was even bored one time during my class, so I was like, oh, I wonder what the code looks like and stuff, and I fried my brain even more.
You
There.
immediately regretted doing that.
I regret it, but yeah, I still learned a little bit about how the coding works, and it's kind of like, how to say it, like reignited my little programming.
Like a programming
kid, so,
fire
yeah,
inside you.
Yeah,
Nice.
but I still got a lot frustrated because I felt like I got nothing done, but
Yeah.
I know I still learned. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you guys are in constant communication, right, with each other?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah.
What about the other QAs on the team? Or is it like, how does that work? Like your guys' role with the other QAs in the lab?
We try to work together because we are a team. It's just we use DFL uses Discord to communicate with other teams and with each other. It seems that we use Discord a lot more often. We are online more than the other two QAs, so it's a little harder to get into contact with them.
Also, they seem to be like more busy with other things.
Like,
so
yeah.
their availability is a little bit less here, but yeah.
Mhm.
It
I
seems
just
like you
really
guys have a good
appreciate
system.
all the
though.
help I'm getting from each member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was it hard when you guys got started just learning how to be in the role, or do you guys have like prior experience doing this, or just what different classes have you guys taken to prepare you for your role?
So like working for, I guess, something like this, like just be in the game industry in general. Both of us actually took a class right before summer, which focuses on just the basics of game development. From there, we also like learned about the software development cycle, in terms of in the game industry.
All the teams.
Yeah, the teams, and just kind of getting exposed to like game engines such as Unity, and just kind of like it was also a nice class because there were plenty of guest speakers from like Valve and
Oh, cool.
what was it,
nice.
Big Fish Games,
Mhm.
that like came in, just kind of gave it a pitch on like what it's like to like be a designer or be a programmer, and just kind of like it's also like, how to say, like inspiration fuel for me, because it's like,
Mhm.
whoa, they get to make these kind of things too. So
Mhm. Yeah, it would be pretty inspiring to have someone talk from the actual industry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm curious, how did you guys find out about the DFL, and why was it a QA role that you guys decided to go in, or was it something that someone else pitched to you?
Well, originally, I believe both me and Joe applied as a dev role.
yeah.
Okay.
And we were told that anyone who, starts as a dev, applied as a dev, will start as a QA, and you will transition into a dev next quarter, or at least on the 6th week, which is what JC told me. But I think with the way DFL is going, with how we're progressing with C and how we have crunch time, we kind of just stayed at QA.
Are you guys good with that role,
I
Deb?
think,
You don't feel...
yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of like it. I prefer it better just because I personally have iffy thoughts about coding.
Yeah, like we're getting the, I don't know, Senioritis or something from it.
Summer, that's a thing.
I don't know. Yeah,
I have it.
I like coding, but only when it's like simple and I know
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
works.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I found out about DFL through one of the speakers. I think you guys were having people go around the classroom and talking about it. I think Jesus was the one who went to my class. Did you go to Clamor?
No. I've
No,
never.
I don't know who it
A
was.
different Jesus.
I don't remember who they were, but they went to Clamor, and that's where I heard about you guys. And it sparked my interest just because I'm an applied computing major, but I'm minoring in creative writing. And so hearing about the game and how you guys took like students from a diverse of like disciplinaries, from coding to narrative to art, and it was a smaller team. I wanted to go into that and learn about almost everything, which I guess QA kind of like touches on.
Yeah,
it worked
yeah,
out.
it's perfect
Perfect.
for us. Yeah.
Yeah. What's Joe? What's your major?
My major is also applied computing.
Wow,
But
okay.
my minor is in visual media arts.
Oh, same.
So yeah, yeah, I'm actually really glad I decided to join DFL because I felt like I've learned a lot, and you know, just about like working in the industry, not just the gaming industry, but the tech industry as well, and actually met a lot of great people here. So it's
Yeah.
not a totally
It's an awesome community.
regrettable experience. Yeah.
Mhm.
So do you guys think your specific like duties, do they apply directly to your major, or is it more just something you're passionate about?
Software development cycle definitely applies.
Yeah.
The scripting, I'd say yeah, that kind of counts.
Yeah.
And just kind of like verifying software testing, you know, it's kind of like reading wikis and organizing documents and stuff. Yeah, that kind of classes from our major kind of apply to that.
I mean, at the end of the day, we are applying computing.
Yeah, that's our job. That's our job. So, yeah, what I like about our majors is that like we can just apply computing into like literally anything we do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anything
And
that we.
that resonated with me so much. I was about to be a computer science major and apply for that, but I
Mhm.
decided to do applied computing because it just sounds more colorful and flexible. Mhm.
Good choice. I started in the CSSE
I was about to,
program,
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
switched to applied computing.
I'm glad
That's what
you
I always
switched,
hear.
yeah.
A lot of applied computing majors always start as the computer science. and
Yeah,
then, like,
it kind
Really?
of surprises me
Yeah.
too.
Because like usually like what I've heard is that most people applied for CSSE, and when you don't get in, you apply for applied computing because they're basically
Yeah,
the same thing.
Oh yeah.
I also kind of factor in like why I kind of applied for applied computing because like for example, one of my Calc 2 grade wasn't as high as I wanted to be, so I just
Yeah.
immediately applied to applied computing. And I realized like the education that you get from the majors, they're about the same.
Yeah,
It's
they're
similar
about the
classes,
same.
isn't it?
Similar
Yeah.
Very
classes,
similar.
except
Yeah.
like some of the harder CS classes actually like you don't have to take.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you're
Well, you guys
able-
got the whole package.
And
then.
for that, and in place of that, you get to take classes in the choice of your minor.
Oh.
So from there, I was
That's
able to take
perfect.
like video art and drawing classes, and it was just kind of a blast. You just gonna refresh.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Actually, that sounds really cool.
I spent most of my time in the CSSE program before I switched, so
Yeah.
whoops.
Hey, at least you got plenty of credits, and
You learned. You
Yeah.
learned, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I also cried and like broke down, but yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're actually both about to graduate pretty soon. I think Christine in the fall, and me,
Yeah.
Oh.
I just have my capstone left after this.
yeah, you should find
Wow.
a capstone this month. You know,
So you're
This is
graduating
what-
this fall, and Joe, you're graduating
in 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, with me. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, so it's-
goodness.
yeah, so we're pretty close. I'm
I
actually kinda
technically-
So
quite
the
excited.
senioritis is probably hitting
Yeah.
real right now.
I
Real
technically
hard.
could have
Yeah.
been like graduating this summer, but I wanted to do my intern credit and capstone separate, just so I can keep my sanity. But then now I'm just like, I could have. Why
Yeah.
didn't I?
That's a good idea. I did
Yeah.
last quarter. I did the DFL and my capstone at the same time. And that was pretty stressful.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
Wow,
Okay.
I bet.
Last quarter?
last quarter, yeah.
Oh my lord. Oh yeah, that's right. You were in my capstone class. I
Yeah.
forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of fun working in groups and stuff.
Yeah. it
you
was-
were by yourself or were you working in a group?
I was in a group.
Okay, all right.
I need a group, guys. By myself.
Wow. See, I'm not even thinking about
Alright.
that. I think I'm the latest to graduate because I don't graduate till spring 2020.
Oh,
So I got some
okay.
time.
You're a business minor, right? I mean, minor, not major, right?
Business major, yeah.
Hey man, we'll be walking the same time because they didn't let me walk 2019
Oh
for
my
some
God.
reason.
Oh, that's
So you-
Yeah.
So you're walking literally 2 quarters after you graduate.
Yeah, I think that
Oh.
was a little stupid because they let other people who was graduating the same time as me walk 2019.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna walk 2020 with my 2019 tassel.
Yes, yes. I'm proud.
Just we need to have a little graduation ceremony just for Christine.
That'd be
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll have a DFL graduation ceremony.
Oh yeah, I
So,
forgot about that.
yeah,
That
so all our
sounds exciting.
listeners, if they follow, all our social medias, our Instagram and Facebook and everything, they'll get to see.
There's like, yeah, the DFL has like, I know their Facebook has like a long history of social media posts.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Yeah, it goes
just
way back.
Going through it like makes me feel like, yeah, this place is always so wholesome.
Yeah,
So, definitely.
we're so wholesome. We had a karaoke game night last Friday.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't
that
get
was a
more
lot of
wholesome
fun.
than that.
Mhm.
So my next question is, with everything you guys are doing, like, how do you? Let me word this right. I just want to know, like, for the release of Seed, how are you guys feeling about it? Like, what are you anticipating when you see the game?
It works.
That it works.
That it works? Yeah.
works.
Are you guys a little bit like tense, like stressed?
No, I'm a little nervous, but I'm actually quite excited because I don't know. I just even though we still got a lot to work on, I feel like we can accomplish a lot with this little time we have right before 6, and I think I'm primarily excited because this will be the first time like I'm actually involved with something that's a game and like
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Mhm. Yeah, we're about 3 weeks out from 6.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Wait, I feel like it's less. It's already Tuesday.
yeah, it's more like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it when they released that?
Okay,
2
yeah.
weeks and 5 days,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's great. Was it when they released that environment build? Like that was like a real hit, like moment for me where I realized like, yo, we're actually making progress.
Yeah.
Just because like when you just test like a bunch of builds all the time where there's like no environment, we're literally testing in like a black void at the moment. So there's like
Yeah.
also like little to no music. We're just like, the only thing that we know that's working is like bugs are being fixed, but what progress is being made on the game we didn't know until like the environment build hit, and I was like, wow, look at that beautiful luscious
as
green
soon as
grass.
I saw just the screenshot of the thing working, it just like how I say, like reevaluated my perspective of the game and like where it could actually end up going into. So like
Yeah.
no, see, it has a lot of potential, and I'm starting to really see it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just really glad like pretty much everyone in DFL is putting their best effort into like polishing this game as much as they can right before 6 and right before we have to close. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's working real hard in these last couple weeks.
I think it's like that's the one value that we really had that you don't always see in different places is the passion that everyone has.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't have that, we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't be
Yeah.
releasing this.
I know when I kind of started, like I was like dreading work and stuff like that, but like once I started getting like this satisfaction again, like every time like I log something, every time I push something that has closed, or every time like I finish writing some function for a script, or just like every single like little like I would say like dash of progress I've been making, and see like successfully working, not just for me but like for others too, and just the team as a whole. Like it just keeps me going. So that's why like I feel like my passion has hit the highest right now. So.
Mm-hmm. And we're kind of in like a similar situation because we also get to see a lot of the work that gets done when we promote it on social media.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can see the progress happening too.
Yeah.
It's really nice to see.
It's so cool. Like if like I communicate a lot with Nate, who's the art director, and he'll send me like graphics and stuff. And it's so cool to see like a new screenshot of something.
Mm-hmm.
And like the
Oh,
most
you check
recent
the
one.
artboards, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, like seeing that from the previous build, just like it looks so real. Like it feels real, and then it makes like the fact that everybody in the lab is so dedicated to it. It makes me even more dedicated to it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Any last questions?
Oh yeah. When your tasks are assigned to you, they usually come with suggestions, right, on how to break something, or do you guys have to figure that out yourselves?
Most of the time we have to figure out
Yeah.
ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, our specific task is just like, hey, see if this is broken or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But there are some cases where I think I guess the audio design like wants to check like if something's there
Yeah.
or like if it's working the way it should. Like I know there was one time when the design was asking if like you know, if we could like how do you say, complete a level without having to use any
Of a specific muse.
something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Yeah, but most of the time we figured it out ourselves, and we usually handled it pretty well. So
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that's what how you said, like the mindset we kind of grew up with during our time, like, you know, just kind of studying at Udabotho, just kind of applies to
Figure
Right.
it out yourself.
just to like explore everything, break everything, just kind of tinker.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the best way to learn.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I would think the people who develop and code would have some idea of how to like check for this, or make sure this code is working right, because I'm not sure if it is.
It's always that what if
Yeah,
that
what
you
if.
got to stick with.
Mm.
And that's usually when you have that kind of mindset, I think that's what gives us the ability to be successful QAs and team players too in general.
Okay, so thanks to Christine and Joe for joining us today, the QAs, two of the QAs at the team. So thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
Yeah, no problem.
And that'll be it. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks.
See ya.
See you guys next week.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our discussion. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Digital Future Lab and on Twitter at DFL_studios. Tune in next time for more on games, technology, and diversity.